Hello, everyone. I've said it many times that I went down to Washington April 17th, 2024 with Sam Salapar, who was a whistleblower for the Boeing 777, 787. And I stood up when you weren't supposed. I was not invited there, but I stood up. And Mr. Richard Blumenthal was the chairman of the DHS subcommittee. Let me just explain something to you, ladies and gentlemen. You have the American National Standards Institute and the American National Accreditation Board. ANSI took over complete control over ANAB in 2018. They are Boeing's go-to accreditation body. Why? Because in the July 2002 supplier bulletin, it stated that the supplier must be AS9100 certified, but certified by ANSI-ANAB. The reason why is that Boeing calls them out on the supplier bulletin of 2002. Also, they are called out on Boeing's supplier portal. Third-party registers must be ANSI-ANAB, or international equivalent, which could be China, Iran, Pakistan, Russia, maybe. These are equivalent to ANSI-ANAB, especially China, Pakistan, and Iran, just to name a few. You have that. And then, to make matters even better, on the ANSI-ANAB website, on a web page called Management Accreditation Committee, was Boeing. Boeing sat there and they could grant, suspend, and withdraw certification. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you this. Boeing was never AS9100 certified, so how can they sit on ANSI-ANAB's board that can judge who can grant, suspend, or withdraw certification? Until June 2024, when Miss Elizabeth Lund made an announcement. She's the vice president of quality at Boeing. She said, we're willing to go for it now. But she was there for 30 plus years and she never opened up her mouth. Unbelievable. So we have a poem because we're still waiting for Mr. Richard Blumenthal to get in touch with us. Mr. Lorenzo Dalbert and Beatrix Dalton, we are waiting, and this goes to you. And I hope, Richard, you get a chance to see this, because every week that goes by, I will do another video because we have copious amounts of information. Ladies and gentlemen, Richard Blumenthal was on the Antitrust Committee in 2017, 16, 17, when I sent a complaint to that committee, led by Mike Lee, he should step down too, who was on there, Amy Klobuchar and Lindsey Graham and some others. I'm not going to get in, but Richard was there. And we tried to tell Lockheed Martin that they're going to be affiliated in 2015 with Communist China. Affiliated in the Connecticut Mirror in 2015, with China's okay, Lockheed Martin closes in on the purchase of Sikorsky Aircraft. You cannot make this up. 2009, Lockheed Martin gets hacked by China, taking the F-35 fighter. 2012, a division of United Technologies, Sikorsky Aircraft, gets hacked by China, taking the Black Hawk, Seahawk, T-700 engine. And then in the Connecticut Mirror, it says Richard Blumenthal and the rest of the gang, Rosa DeLauro and Chris Murphy, praise Lockheed Martin for working with Communist China. In fact, it says Connecticut lawmakers praise Lockheed Martin for going over their last international hurdle, basically saying that they approve China working with Lockheed Martin, our number one military contractor. Isn't that screwed up? So we're going to go with this. Richard, this is for you. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who are listening, this is my second time. I told Richard, I asked him once, I sent out a note, nothing. I asked again. This is number 3, actually, but I'm calling it number 2, given the benefit of the doubt. 7 business days. It's right here on the 21st, and we're a man of our word, unlike many who are involved in the Washington arena. You have in Connecticut 7 representatives watching over 3.6 million people, ladies and gentlemen. That means 500,000 constituents. So I'm knocking on Rich's door with there's 499,999 people who are also knocking on his door, basically. Is he going to answer? Richard, you better answer. And I say this humbly, because we don't stop. Because you know something? As David Foster Wallace stated, the truth will set you free, but not until it is finished with you. And Richard, as you knew my mom, Sylvia, She was calm, cool, and collective. I know all the dirty secrets in your closet because I've collected them over the years. He never responded. None of them responded on the antitrust committee. Do you know why? All of them were getting disbursements from Lockheed Martin, including Richard Blumenthal. So do you think they're going to go after the bite the hand that feeds them? Absolutely not. So here we go. We have a poem for you, Richard, a very poignant thing, and here it goes. Unbelievable. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, on ANSI-ANAB's board, you have federal agencies and corporations. They are not-for-profit, non-governmental entity, but it sounds government. Oh, the American National Standards Institute, American National Crediting Board. And Boeing was never AS9100 for 22 years. On top of it, the Department of Homeland Security, Department of Commerce, Department of Justice, and the FDA all sit on ANSI-ANAB's board, not just as members, Richard, as customers. So when I stood up, it was no more than being at a Boeing meeting, because your organization was not getting to the bottom of what caused Boeing's issues, but are part of the problem. And here we go. QA expert Daryl Guberman requests meeting number 2. And by the way, again, in the state of Connecticut, there are 3.6 million people divided into 7 representatives in Washington. Comes to almost 500,000 constituents. And as I'm showing you, they don't listen. They don't talk. They don't even send me a form letter. None of them. They're quiet. Do you know why? I'm exposing the largest industrial scam this world has ever seen, and they're part of our problem. Yes, they are. Ineffective politicians who get elected, smile for the camera, and tell you a line of bullshit. They think that we're mushrooms. Keep them in the dark, feed them shit, and that's it. Richard, so bad. Here it is. In a land full of factories, full of machines, where workers build wonders fulfilling their dreams, there crept a slight trouble, a sneaky sly snare, and it twirled through the system quite unaware. Mr. Blumenthal stood with a gleam in his eye, approval from China. Oh, give it a try. He smiled for the camera, so polished, so neat, while local Connecticut shops faced defeat. The engines kept roaring, the papers unchecked. 22 years Boeing dodged what's correct. And the foxes in ANSI-ANAB, the feathers they chewed, let safety slip by while profits accrued. DHS, Department of Commerce, they sat in their chairs, guarding no henhouse, just counting the fares. Meanwhile, the makers, the welders, the crew, felt the cracks in the floors, and sky wasn't blue. Then in swooped Daryl Guberman, 40 years strong, a truth-sayer who knew right from wrong. He shouted and pointed, look here, look there, the corruption is thick, it's floating in air. He spoke of the MEP, the Manufacturing Extension Partnership, a program for all, but salaries ballooned and the money did fall. From non-profit to non-profit, round it would spin, while factories dwindled, let out in the wind. Constep and the bosses, the crew, they pocketed dollars while the workers withdrew. 65% of each taxpayer buck fed management's belly, left factories stuck. And what of the statutes, the laws on the shelf? 18 U.S. Code, 1957 itself. Money laundering whispers went down the deep hall while watchdogs were sleeping, ignoring the call. Blumenthal, the knight of his stories and tales, claimed jungles and battles with medals and veils. Yet the jungle never saw him, the fight never came, just headlines and photos, a patriotic claim. So hear now, innovators, from Guberman's lips, this isn't just numbers or meetings or scripts. This is safety, this is progress, this is what we hold dear. And letting it slip is something we fear. The factories faltered, the engines did strain, the boards and bureaucrats played their sly game. But the people are watching and makers will rise. They'll shine light on foxes and expose all the lies. The lesson is clear in this rhyming refrain. When leaders sell safety, the loss is our pain. Expose every fox, every feather, each claw, and send them all packing according to law. Blumenthal's blunder, a tale in red ink, a betrayal of industry far closer than you think. But Daryl Guberman's voice, steady, brave, and bright, will keep calling the truth will switch on the light. So read and remember, this rhyme is no jest. The makers, the workers deserve only the best. And when the foxes and feathers try bending the rules, QA experts will stand and expose all the fools. Richard, I look forward to hearing from you. I hope you call, Lorenzo, because this is the most despicable display of incompetency that I have ever witnessed 3 times in Washington, D.C. And my fellow Americans, they get a script. These players that come in to get interviewed, without a doubt in my mind. They're too calm and cool and collected. The only one who may not have gotten the script was Sam Salapar. It looked like he was really talking from his heart. But there's a confine because he had his lawyer there, so she probably set up a script for him. On April 17, 2024, look me up. Daryl Guberman, Boeing, DARYL GUBERMAN, I'm sorry for the length of this. But Richard, we're waiting. Every week we will be doing a video. I promise you that. And we will keep on doing it until you retire. I thank you. 203-556-1493. And as Dwight D. Eisenhower said, and remember this well, it is not the size of the dog in the fight that counts. It's the size of the fight in the dog. And as A.A. Milne would say, it is easier to believe a lie that one has heard 1,000 times than to believe a fact Daryl Guberman is stating. I thank you.